So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage, and Lee Zeldin speaking out again, trying to just clarify a few things. And it's funny because people literally have questions. They don't understand what is coming with the ending of the endangerment finding, or CO2s or NOxes or other gases mixing with those CO2s. Well, Lee Zeldin has got directly into it. We're going to run the interview in its entirety. See, that is something that we do a little different here than some of these other YouTube channels that are selectively editing these interviews with the EPA administrator to kind of fit their narrative. We're not doing that here. So we're going to go ahead and jump directly into it. We're going to roll the intro. We have a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're getting directly into the video. Perfect. You ever Googled yourself just to see what pops up? Yeah, I did that, and it was way more than I expected. Old addresses, phone numbers, name of my family members, just floating around for anyone to find. I mean, even your home address. It's crazy. That's because of this thing called data brokers. These companies, they scoop up your info from everywhere. Public records, random websites, even stuff you didn't know or knowingly shared. And then they sell it. They sell it to marketers, scammers, trolls, telemarketers. They buy all the data. I'm not cool with that. So I signed up for a company called Delete Me. They go and find all your personal information across all these sketchy sites and get it removed. Plus they keep monitoring because new stuff keeps popping up. Here's a peek at my Delete Me report. I'm going to cut over here to the dashboard so you can see it. And you can see exactly where they've scrubbed my data and how they're keeping tabs on it. It's been a solid move for me. I've got peace of mind knowing that my info is not just floating around anymore. If you want to lock down your privacy, which I highly recommend, go to joindeleteme.com/TK's Garage. That link gets you 20% off, and I'm going to drop it here below. Oh yeah, and yes, this video is sponsored by Delete Me, but I actually use it myself, like I showed you. I wouldn't tell you about it if I didn't. I do kind of find it funny that our sponsor is Delete Me, and everybody that's watching this video is trying to delete things. Anyways, let's run this interview with the EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin with Larry Kudlow on Fox Business.
All right, joining us now, the hottest cabinet member in Washington, D.C., EPA Administrator Mr. Lee Zeldin, who's really shaking things up. Welcome back, Administrator Zeldin, Lee Zeldin, good friend. So, all right, let's just start with I know it's not a new announcement, but let's review it. You're saying that greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, do not endanger human beings, and that EPA really shouldn't be in that regulatory business.
So the proposal that just went out is to rescind the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding. And what they said back in 2009 was that carbon dioxide, when mixed with these other well-mixed gases, some not even emitted from mobile sources, even though that's what they were supposed to narrow it to, that contributes to global climate change. It doesn't cause it. They don't say it causes it. Contributes. You could ask, well, how much do they say contributes? Well, they don't say, but it's north of zero. Not much north of zero. Then they say that global climate change endangers public health and welfare. That sounds like a lot of mental leaps. That's exactly what they did, because the direct line they had trouble meeting. Now, there's been some big developments that Larry Kudlow is well aware of, like Loper Bright overturning the Chevron doctrine, a big Supreme Court decision saying agencies like the EPA can't just get creative in making up our own interpretation of statute. We need to go by the plain language. And then there are cases like West Virginia versus EPA and Michigan versus EPA, where if you're going to have trillions of dollars of regulations, That's something that maybe Congress should be deciding instead of some bureaucrats.
Did Congress, yes, that's it. So did Congress ever pass a law that codified greenhouse gases endangering our human being and our health?
No.
Did they ever pass a law?
The Clean Air Act doesn't make any reference to the greenhouse gases.
So who invented it? Obama regulators.
So they got creative, and we're proposing, now we're going to a public comment period, that our interpretation of the law of these Supreme Court cases means that we don't have the legal authority to reach this decision. Now, in the Inflation Reduction Act, that boondoggle that was passed when Democrats had one-party control of Washington, in a different section of the Clean Air Act, they made a statement about greenhouse gases being a pollutant. But it's not in Section 202, which is where EPA says that they have their authority to regulate the heck out of it. Now, they'll say that carbon dioxide endangers public health. The carbon dioxide is a pollutant, and they'll never talk about anything that is good or important about it. Now they'll respond and say, well, let's just lock the administrator up.
How do we know that carbon dioxide endangers public health, individual health, my health, and your health?
That's a great question, Larry.
Know that?
They never studied it individually. And this is something that they should have done. And how about since the 2009 endangerment finding, they never had a public comment period. Now, back in 2009, if you want to talk to science, they made a whole bunch of different assumptions. Some were optimistic assumptions on the science. Some were pessimistic. Well, what the Obama EPA decided to do was to rely on the most pessimistic assumptions that were getting made as to where the climate science was going. Here's the good news. In 2025, many of those pessimistic assumptions didn't actually pan out. So we're going to deal in 2025.
The models
facts.
were wrong. That's shocking.
Yes.
The models were wrong.
A black and white, indisputable fact that they were relying on pessimistic targets that turned out not to be true.
So what does this mean if I own a gasoline, God forbid, I own a gasoline-powered automobile or SUV? What does this mean?
Well, it means that in the future, if you want to continue to buy gasoline-powered vehicles, you're going to be able to do that. What the last EPA rules were doing in putting forward the Biden electric vehicle mandate, like we were seeing coming out of states like California, well, they were trying to do this nationally. The new rules they're trying to put into place were trying to coerce these manufacturers into going a majority, mostly EVs. How about we let the market just be free? And if you want to go buy an electric vehicle, buy an electric vehicle. If you want to buy a gas-powered vehicle, go buy a gas-powered vehicle. And in 1 year, at the Trump EPA, in just 1 year, we will do more deregulation than entire federal governments have done across all agencies, across entire presidencies. When you are putting your head down on the pillow this Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, you are going to have a big smile on your face knowing that we are doing our part to apply common sense, heeding the call of the American public, and doing a whole lot of deregulation that protects the environment while growing the economy.
You're driving up the stock market. That's one of the reasons the market's going up so much.
I don't know. I heard it was Larry Kudlow driving it up.
You are driving up the stock market, Lee Zeldin. I got to ask you one more thing. I'm not sure what this means. Lee Zeldin is pushing for a natural gas pipeline in New England. I can't imagine that the Massachusetts or New York would allow that to happen.
New England needs it.
Oh, I know.
They're relying on foreign sources of energy. I just visited all 6 states up in New England over the course of the prior week. The Constitution Pipeline of Williams Company, based out of Oklahoma, it was something that was on the map about 6 years ago. Now they're talking about bringing it back to deliver natural gas to New England. It'll need to go through New York. Quite frankly, New York should be extracting natural gas themselves. President Trump knows that one well, but instead, this is a proposal to bring the natural gas up from Pennsylvania. President Trump has been pushing Constitution Pipeline, Nessie Pipeline, a new LNG plant over hundreds of miles in Alaska.
Cheaper power, more affordability.
Power, and better for the environment. We do it better than so many other countries
More
do.
affordability. We don't need socialism
and
communism.
Jobs.
God, Lee Zeldin, I'm telling you, folks, he is just the hottest administrator in Washington. Thank you ever so much, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin.
Okay. So like I said, they've done a couple different things here in the last 48 hours. They clarified some of the different things. I've got emails that have come in now from individuals that have these trucks that have reached out to EPA employees to try to get a comment, basically saying, are you guys going to make the manufacturers change some of the stuff when it comes to diesel exhaust fluid, or what is it? And it's literally just guidance. Like Ram could just say, F it, we're not doing it. GM could say they're not doing it. But when the emission rules completely change, that is a different situation. So I think there'll be some manufacturers like Caterpillar and Kenworth and things of that nature, different people that make Mitsubishi, different people that make farm equipment, and diesel farm equipment for that matter, that will take that EPA guidance and do it. Now, I've seen some of the comments that have come out already from manufacturers that, they either have to have it the way that they have it or not have it at all. And that's actually positive in itself, because if the EPA says, yeah, you can detune it or not have it at all, like basically meaning when you get to the point where the DEF is empty or you have an issue or there's an issue with the DEF system, and a manufacturer can now just turn that off so that it doesn't throttle, you just get basically a check engine light. It would basically be the equivalent of my Cadillac with the perpetual check engine light that's on, because it doesn't have any catalytic converters or any emission systems for that matter. I don't think people would care. I think people would probably also just get a custom tune to tune out the check engine light for that, because there's no DEF. But the fact that manufacturers are now asking questions of the EPA and the EPA is responding, I think we'll see more guidance or another update probably later this week where they say, yeah, if you can't tune it to where you have X amount of time, then maybe the EPA says turn it off, which I think would make all of us happy, because it would de facto be deleting of DEF systems at that point. Now, the comment period is still going on, and I did a video with Truckmaster. It got posted the other day while I was up in Michigan. Go watch his channel. Go watch the video. If you're into diesel parts, go over to his website. I think it's in his video, listed in the video as well if you're looking for those diesel parts. But this is a time where you can actually make your voice heard, where it actually matters, okay? Once the comment period ends, Lee Zeldin made it very clear. It's not going to be months. It's going to be a day, maybe 2 days before they implement that rule to give these manufacturers guidance. So for 2027, 2028 model year vehicles, we could have some common sense again. But like I said, I ran the whole interview in its entirety because we don't want to selectively edit what somebody says, and I wanted to make it clear. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.